Hi everyone, Darth Corny here, and today I'm reviewing Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi. I've been reviewing all Star Wars movies, and I'm going to review the prequels and Force Awakens as well because of the recent release of Force Awakens. So, in the original trilogy, for me personally, this is between Empire and Star Wars. It's not as good as Empire, but I find it more enjoyable than Star Wars. As far as the special edition edits go, there are a few in this one. There are not as much as Star Wars, but there are more than Empire, and luckily there are some that are good. Oh, if you haven't seen this movie, or you don't like spoilers, switch off now, because spoiler alert. So this was the final chapter of the trilogy, and for me it's the perfect ending. I love this movie. A lot of people give this one crap because of the Ewoks, because of the long beginning with Jabba's palace, or maybe because of the lazy writing of the Death Star. I don't care. I like all those things, and I just love this movie a lot. So yeah, that's my opinion about this movie. So let's begin. The opening crawl tells us that Luke is now saving his friend Han, and that in the meantime the Empire has built a second Death Star. Now the thing about this Death Star is it's not done yet. It has some construction still going. As I said in my review for Star Wars, I just love the Death Star, so seeing another one in this one, it's amazing. So Darth Vader comes aboard and talks about this, and then tells us that the Emperor will be coming. Now I was looking forward to this because we only saw him a little bit in Empire, so to actually have the Emperor be a character in this movie was kind of interesting, because you know he's the boss of Vader in some way. Then we go to Tatooine, we see R2 and 3PO, and they have a message for Jabba, which tells Jabba that Luke gives the droids to him. This, mind you, was the first time in the original cut that people saw Jabba. And it was actually hilarious to see this guy be a giant slug just relaxing in his palace. It's hilarious to have that in this movie. Now, as I said, a lot of people have issues with the fact that this goes on for like 35 minutes of the entire movie with the Jabba thing. I don't mind it. I find it very entertaining and a very good setup, because in the original cut both movies have led to this point where we finally get to see Jabba, and to have such a showdown with the Rancor and the Sarlacc pit is very nice. I really liked it. And also I have to say it's epic what they did with the puppeteering on Jabba. There are like 10 people working at once to make him this character, which actually feels really real, instead of the CGI things we saw in the special editions and the prequels. And we also find out right now that Luke has finally become the Jedi Knight. This is why he is my favorite character. He has been set up to be this great Jedi in the last two movies, and now he's finally there. He has become what he wanted to be in the first movie. So to have that as a character arc, yes, that is why he is my favorite character of the entire thing. Luke is just awesome. And to add more to the fact that he is awesome, they also gave him a green lightsaber instead of blue. So the first time they show this lightsaber, discount the prequels, it's like, wow, this is the first time we see a green lightsaber in these movies, and it's just great. It looks amazing, and actually it's my favorite lightsaber. So not only Luke made this character step, but also Lando. Lando now has infiltrated Jabba's palace to help the group. And it's actually very nice that we see him do this, because in the last movie we didn't know what to think about him, but now we know that his allegiance is to the rebels, and that probably also led to the fact that he's Gold 1 later in the battle, which is very nice. Now I have two issues with the beginning of this movie. One is once again a special edition edit. What they did was change the song that is being acted in front of Jabba at one point. They made a different song than the original just to put some CGI things. So once again, Jar Jar things. It was just stupid to change the song, because I don't mind the song, but there was nothing wrong with the original song. So to change this doesn't make any sense. Just to put some more stupid CGI things in there. Again, Lucas, no sense in changing this. And then the other issue is something that not only me but a lot of other people have an issue about. The fact that Boba Fett gets killed very easily. Like, he gets killed by a blind man. At the point that he gets killed, he is trying to shoot at Luke, whilst Han just turns around and he hits his jetpack. It's just stupid that you kill off such an amazing looking character in such a dumb way. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, at the end, Leia kills Jabba and they blow up the sail barge and they leave. What is interesting that they gave the kill to Leia. Why did they give it to Leia? Because Leia is a badass character and you should not mess with her. So the moment when Jabba gave her that bikini, she was like, okay, I'm going to take my revenge on you. And she did. So basically they say Leia is just awesome. I love that. Anyway, Luke goes to Dagobah and he thinks he's going to complete the training, but Yoda said, no, your training is done. The only thing that remains is you have to face Vader again and then your training is done. And sadly he dies. The first time I saw this I cried about this because it was very emotional. Just such an awesome character to be dead. Yeah, that's sad. That's very emotional. Very powerful scene how this is done. And then after this, Luke gets to talk to Ben, and Ben tells Luke that he has a sister, which is Leia. As I said before, this wasn't in the original script, but they changed it up in the last minute because the other explanation was for Luke's sister to be in the other side of the galaxy, which would be very weird to even add into the story, so they went with this. In the meantime, the Emperor gets to the Death Star, and the rebels assemble together with their fleet and they get ready for attack. They talk about how they will attack. Lando will lead the fighters, and our main group, Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, R2, 3PO, will go to Endor to disable the shield generator. This scene made me hyped for the rest of the movie. This is like, it's gonna show down all at Endor and it's gonna be awesome. And it was. We'll get to that later. Then our main characters get to Endor. We get a nice speeder bike chase, and we get introduced to the Ewoks. And I don't give a single crap about what anybody thinks about these Ewoks. I like them. I like the fact that it is like the Ewoks are like David and the Empire is like Goliath, but still the Ewoks are at their home, they have the advantage, and they can actually beat the Empire. So whatever you will say will not change my opinion. I like the Ewoks and they're just cute. Get over it. Well, after this, one thing leads to another and the rebels side with the Ewoks and Luke decides to go face Vader. Now, what is interesting about this, that we are getting two sides of this. One, Vader is trying to get Luke to the dark side. Later he has the help of the Emperor, but at first Vader tries to do that. However, Luke senses the good in Vader and tries to get him to the light.
Come with me.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
It's a very nice parallel that they do both, and you see both struggling with the fact that there are calls to both sides. So yeah, it's a very powerful, interesting scene. Anyway, the rebels get to the shield generator, but just before they get to blow it up, they get captured, and then the fleet arrives. And the fleet figures out the shield is still operational, we can't attack yet, and then the Imperial fleet arrives.
It's a trap!
And this just starts off the best space battle in cinema history, in my opinion. The Rebel fleet and the Imperial fleet are fighting against each other. It starts off with the fighters, but later it involves the cruisers. It has a lot more fighters than the previous movies, like the A-Wings and the TIE Interceptors and everything. It has so much going on and it just looks so incredible. It's the best space action that you can ever see in cinema history, in my opinion. So when this goes on in space, on Endor, the Ewoks save the rebels by attacking the Empire, and the Battle of Endor starts. And like I said, this is the Ewoks being David to the Empire being Goliath. However, the Ewoks have their home advantage. And to be honest, when the battle begins, the Ewoks actually struggle to defeat the Empire, but as the battle goes on, they find out ways to destroy their walkers and everything. So it's very nice to see that. Also, it has a very emotional death scene involving two Ewoks. I mean, that's really heartfelt the first time you see that. It's very touching. And which is also awesome, like in the last movie we had the AT-ATs, now we have the AT-STs. Also known as chicken walkers. Another very nice addition to the Imperial ground forces. So with the battle going on in space and the battle going on in the ground, there has to be a lightsaber fight in the Death Star. And it finally happens. Vader and Luke get to show off against each other in probably the best lightsaber fight of the entire trilogy. I mean, it has the most emotion because we now know these are father and son and they are actually fighting against good and evil at the same time. And which is also great is that Luke has now finally made the step to be that better Jedi that he wasn't in the last movie. So now he is almost as good as Vader, and it's very interesting to have two people of the same caliber fighting each other. At the end of this lightsaber fight, Luke stands in the shadows hiding from Vader, and this is a very good light shot where we see Luke's face being divided by light on one side and dark on the other.
It is the only way you can save your friend.
This way of lighting is brilliant, like showing in the light how he is struggling at that point. It's very interesting, very well done. At one point Vader makes a comment about the fact that Luke has a sister. Luke snaps, and at that point we probably get the most emotional bashing that Luke has ever done. Luke loses it. Luke completely snaps and just goes at Vader like, "You're not gonna use my sister for this, I'm going to kill you." The way he does that is just so powerful. But at the end, when he has defeated Vader, he cut off his hand, he sees Vader also has a robot hand, like Luke right now. So he thinks by himself, wait, I have snapped too far, I've done too much, this is my father, I should not do this. So he snaps out of it. When the Emperor tells him to take his father's place at the side of the Emperor, and Luke says no, that was a win for me. That was like, Luke, you are the most awesome character of this entire trilogy. Amazing. Great stuff. Anyway, the shield does get destroyed then, and the rebels fly into the Death Star, and this little scene made me just even more pumped for what was about to come. You know that the Death Star is going to be destroyed, and the way they set it up is just amazing.
Going in. Here goes nothing.
Anyway, in the meantime, the Emperor has decided, okay, if you will not be turned, you will be destroyed. So he uses the lightning on Luke to kill him. And then we get a very powerful scene that is completely wrecked by the special edition edits. No! In the original cut, he doesn't say anything. But in the special editions, they added a no! It completely took away any emotional weight that scene had. And I completely hate George Lucas at this point. Anyway, Vader throws the Emperor into somewhere. Luke helps Vader get to the shuttle, and at that point, Vader knows he's going to die, so he asks Luke to take off his helmet, and this is also a very emotional scene. Even though you hated Vader for a lot of things, he was the best villain in cinema history, and he dies. And it's very touching. So, obviously, I cried at this scene. It was so emotional. It was so well handled, the way that Vader went. And it's a great ending to his career. Anyway, the Death Star gets blown up. And then we see Han and Leia finally being the couple that we have wanted them to be since Empire. Luke burns Vader out of respect for him. He wants him to have a good death. And we get to the ending, which I have mixed emotions about. There are two endings, the special edition and the not special edition. The not special edition includes the song Yup Nup, which is an Ewok song. And it's a very nice song actually. It's a very good ending. However, the victory song they added to the special edition, in my opinion, is better fitting, and I prefer that song. However, in the time they play this song, they show every world being happy, including the prequel worlds. Now, for me, this ruins something because I do not want to see anything of the prequels in these movies, especially the Gungans on Naboo. But they do add it in. So, if I have to pick, I would pick the special edition edit because it has a better song. I don't really care about the fact that I see the other world. But Yup Nup is also great. And then at the point where you think this movie is over, it's great, there is nothing else I can say about this. Yes, there is. Yet again, another special edition edit. For some reason, Lucas thought it was a good idea to put in the head of Hayden Christensen, who plays Anakin in the prequels. Now, I do not by the life of me understand why he did not change Yoda to his CGI Yoda and Obi-Wan to the younger Obi-Wan in Ewan McGregor as well. Because why not change it entirely? For some reason, he thought it was a good idea to just change that head. So the actor who plays Vader will never be seen as his Jedi self, and it doesn't make any sense because like Yoda and Ben are the ghost form that they were how Luke remembers them. But at this point, Anakin is a form that Luke has never seen, so he probably should wonder, who is this guy? I don't know him. I want to see the actual Anakin that I saw just now when I took off his helmet. So it doesn't make any sense. George Lucas, I so hate you because of this. Anyway, that's how the movie ends. That's Return of the Jedi, and as I said, I just love it. There are some flaws here and there, but I find it more enjoyable than Star Wars. It has probably the best visuals of all three movies. It has the best emotional moments with the characters, and it has just a perfect ending in my opinion. So as I said, I rate the movies in IMDb, so out of 10, I give this movie a 9.5. So what did you think about this one? Did you love it as much as I did? Did you have some issues with it? Let me know in the comments below. If you've liked this movie review, please subscribe to my channel where I will do more movie reviews, and you can already see some movie reviews. That's it. Bye.